Oh,
This time for real.
this time for real, yes, yes. Hi guys, Gothic Mando here, back again today with my good friend Thomas. How are you doing, Tom?
I feel like I've told you
You
already.
feel like a little bit... Well, we've been practicing with the mic as usual. So yeah, I'm kind of sick of hearing how Tom is by now.
I'm fine.
He's fine. He's fine. A little bit wet because it's been, baby, it's cold
Because it's been
outside.
raining.
It's been raining.
No other
Yes.
reason.
No other reason.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. So back again today. A little bit different today. We've got For Honor gameplay instead of Battlefront 2, as you can see on the screen here.
Because Battlefront 2 is for shit.
Well, more or less, yeah. Actually, we've got Grievous coming out on, I think it's Tuesday, so next week if you're up for it.
So, the 30th.
The 30th, yes, that's right. Definitely the 30th, yeah. So if you're up for it, Tom, we could always do that next
When
week.
was he supposed to come out?
Um,
Remind me.
I think it was supposed to be September
Okay.
originally, yeah. Everything did get pushed back.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll definitely talk more about that in our Battlefront video,
Oh,
obviously.
don't worry, we will
Uh,
talk a
we
lot
will.
about it.
Yes, yes. But yeah, so we're playing For Honor today, something a bit more positive, because we've been playing For Honor quite a bit, haven't we, you and I, Thomas? Um,
Not for a while, but back when it was newer,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
spent quite a lot of time in it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because funnily enough, it's and I know I've said this many a time on the Solo Players Matter page. I can't really praise this game enough in terms of what we're looking for in that group and what Tom and I enjoy with the previous Battlefront games. This game has provided it from day one, pretty much. You can play bots with again across all modes, even though it's a multiplayer game, and you can do that like from the release day, which is pretty fantastic. The bots are pretty damn good in my opinion. They're certainly good enough. They get updated as well. They've been updated in this Marching Fire update, which we're going to play through today. Um, yeah, yeah. So you've got your standard modes. You've got team deathmatch. You've got like control and 1v1 and so on and so forth. But just before we get into our gameplay, I just wanted us to just sing this game's praises because frankly I don't think it really gets enough of it in terms of what we wanted. So we've played all the modes, haven't we, Tom? We played the 1v1, 2v2. We've mostly played the kind of control point modes
Yes.
because, capturing command posts and all that stuff.
Something we
Uh,
don't get from Battlefront.
yes, yes. I love it, as you can tell. I mean, what do you think of it from what you've experienced, Thomas? I mean, you've gotten a bit used to it. You've got a character that you like to pick every time. What's your view on For Honor?
No, it's a lot of fun. It
Lot of fun.
certainly had a much better put together
Mm.
release than Battlefront. It seems to
Mm.
actually have updates and seasons.
Yes, yes, yeah, totally agree, totally agree.
It's an easy game to pick up and play. It's
Mm.
fun, and
Mm.
there's enough modes that I don't think it would get boring, even if I didn't only play it at your house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And as you say, it's easy to pick up and play. But it's got enough there if you want a bit of a deeper gameplay as well. If you want advanced techniques, because every character is unique. You've got one
Oh
character on the
yes,
screen here. Every single one has their own set of moves. It's not just like, oh, they've got a different weapon. It's a new skin. No, no, they've all got new animations. They've all got different play styles, different move sequences to learn and master.
different moves, different strengths, different
Mm,
weaknesses.
definitely, definitely. I think everyone is probably going to find a character they like here. They've even added a brand new faction as well, four new characters to the game in this update, and the game has received free DLC since day one as well, which is great. So you've had new fighters for free up till now, which is good stuff. So yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's probably about covers it. Oh, there's a campaign as well, if you want. Thanks. This is, as they touted it before it released, it's a kind of shooter with swords type game. Kind of standard multiplayer format game. Instead of boomsticks, you've got sticks.
A
So you got
shooter with
a shooter
swords.
with
What a
swords.
stupid idea.
So you got the multiplayer games, you've got PvP. You can play them all with bots. I'm going to add that you can actually level up against the bots as well. You can level up. You can unlock all your loot against bots. Like I just play with bots. I've got everything I wanted. I've got I've got all my loot, my new armors, new weapons, and so on. So you don't ever need to touch PvP if you don't want to.
Matt puts a lot of importance on how his character looks.
On how yes. Yes,
and having the right gear.
Yes, well, I like to put myself in the game. I'm a very vain person.
That's why you know. Not going to finish that thought.
You're not going to finish that thought? No, that's fair enough.
Not sure, entirely sure if it's accurate. Don't want to assume.
So yeah, you've got your PvP, you've got your PvE across all the PvP modes, and you've got your campaign as well. We don't really speak about that though in the For Honor community because it's not really up to snuff in terms of delivering a decent story and well fleshed out characters. But it's there, it's something else. It's something that the original Battlefront from DICE didn't provide. So
honestly, I wouldn't have been that upset if this game didn't have a campaign.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure this game, where everyone is just a faceless tin can, needs a story mode. Per se.
Yeah. I mean, the argument could be made that a campaign is there to help flesh out those faceless tin cans, but no, I totally see your point.
I wouldn't have been disappointed if it didn't have one. Put it that way.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure there's an enormous amount you can do to flesh these alleged characters out.
Yes.
It's certainly not the glaring omission that a Star Wars game without a narrative element is.
Yes, yeah, I agree. But yeah, so you've got that as well. You've got a pretty decent package there, and obviously by now the game's been out a couple of years. It's going to be probably quite cheap to pick up, so I can't recommend it enough. You've got some extensive tutorial sections as well. You've got training videos that show all the advanced techniques and the basic techniques for your character. You've got trials, which are basically that, but with little challenges to motivate you as well. So you've got the basic ones. You've got the kind of hero-specific tactics, the hero-specific movesets, which is really extensive, by the way. Like there's loads of movesets to learn and so on. So yeah, it's got probably everything that you could really want from this type of game.
It's the Centurion.
Yes, that's Tom's character right there, the Centurion, Roman Centurion. He was actually the first DLC character to be released. Like I said. Well, I say the characters are free. You know what? Let's go to the character selection screen before we jump into gameplay, just to take a look. So you had 3 factions at launch. You had the Samurai, Vikings, and the Knights. Naturally,
That's where the Roman Centurion goes.
Well, yeah. Some of the placement for the DLC characters is a little odd. But as a fan of the Knights and as a fan of Romans, ancient Romans in general, I'm glad to see him allied with the Knights, personally. Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, historically speaking, but never mind.
No. But in all fairness, I mean, it's not a game that's meant to be that historically accurate anyway. These characters are based on those factions. They're not literally, literal copies of them.
No, of course not.
Yeah, like Vikings, I think historically didn't have horns on their helmets. I think from what I've heard.
They didn't. Because why the hell would you put something easily grabbable on your helmet?
Oh, it's great having you here, Tom. Tom's a historian, so it's great to have him here.
Just consider yourself lucky we're not playing Assassin's Creed.
Oh, oh man. I mean, I had fun with that game, but
yes. I had fun lecturing you.
You
about
had fun,
it.
Yes, you certainly did.
Just don't think it would make a good YouTube video.
So, like I said, we've got the 3 base factions there. Just out of interest, which would you pick if it was you, Tom?
Knights, probably.
Yeah.
I'm more comfortable with the Centurion.
Yeah. Cool, good stuff. So you had the 4 characters at launch, and then you had the 2 DLC characters, sort of on the far right of each box there, and they were. Now you didn't have to pay real money for them, but you did have to pay in-game currency to be able to play as them. So as you can see now, they are currently 10,000 of the in-game currency, which is called steel, to unlock to play as. Which is kind of steep. When they came out, they were 15,000 because they've actually discounted all of the 6 previous heroes with this update, so it's now 10,000, which is still quite a bit to grind for. But I mean, you've got a decent amount of characters to play as while trying to unlock them.
And it's good that you can unlock them without playing real money.
Yes, yes, exactly.
And you don't have to rely on a loot box system either.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. In terms of how much currency you gain from each match, it is skewed a bit towards PvP. You earn currency across all modes, whether you're playing PvE or PvP. You can basically play in 3 ways. You've got like full PvP, you know, 2 teams of players fighting each other. You can do kind of you could do a co-op PvE where you have humans on your team and you face off against bots on the other team. Or you can play the way I like to play, which is probably the least taxing on your internet, which is just you with bot allies and bot enemies.
Or as I like to call it, single player.
Single player. Single player. There we go. Single player. This game has everything.
Single player. What an innovation.
So you earn the most in PvP. You then earn the second most in co-op, and then you earn the least in single player.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but it's not that much of a difference in terms of the amount of steel that you acquire. So it's not too bad really. Yeah, so you can unlock these characters by playing any modes you want to. You can naturally buy the in-game money with real money if you want a shortcut. Naturally, this is an Ubisoft game. Of course, it's filled to the brim with microtransactions. But they're not, you know, they're not that invasive. Like I said, you can just grind to get these characters.
And it's not like we said, it's not based on a loot box system or anything luck based. So if you do want to grind because you want to play as the ninja because you're 12, then you know that when you get to 10,000 you can buy the ninja, and you know that everything you do will earn you steel to get towards that. You can sort of guesstimate how long it will take you. It's not like you're just buying a loot box and it might be the next one, it might be 10,000 crates down the line.
Yeah, or what was it like? Was it 40 hours to get Darth Vader, wasn't it? Or launch or something like that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Something stupid like that.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, so you got a decent amount of heroes to begin with. And yeah, I mean, if you do enjoy the game enough, the grind won't feel that taxing, hopefully. There's a decent amount of modes, especially with the new mode as well, that we're going to be playing through today. That's
Breach.
Come with this. Yes, Breach. That's come with the Marching Fire updates. We're going to give that a try. I'm a big fan. I hope to convert Thomas as well.
Yes, he's been singing its praises.
I have.
I mainly agreed to do this to shut him up.
It's fun.
I kid.
Well, no, it's fun that I get to rant because after his lecture on Assassin's Creed Origins about ancient Rome and so on, it's fun to get my own back every now and then.
You enjoyed that.
I did, yes. Hoping that you'll enjoy this as well. So you know, it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both, really.
But no, I mean 12 heroes to start with, and then another 6, and now another 4. I mean that's better than Battlefront's managed.
It is, and everyone, like I said, everyone feels unique. Everyone feels fleshed out. Yeah, there's even fun little kind of, you know, details and little lore touches, like some of the moves they actually speak in their own languages, like the knights speak in Latin and the Vikings speak, I think, Icelandic or something, and so on, and the samurai.
Considering the Vikings have got a Scottish Highlander on their team.
Well, yeah,
a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, but you've also got the other 4 heroes added with this update. So they're part of the new faction called the Wu Lin, Chinese faction. If that's your thing, you know, kind of weeaboos and such.
Weeaboos is Japan.
Is it? Oh, we'll see. I wouldn't know. yeah, so feel free to not spam that in the comments section now. I've been informed, it's okay. Yeah. So yeah, you've got a decent amount of characters.
Today I learned Chinese and Japanese are actually different.
I am culturally sensitive usually.
Also, Scottish and Norwegians different. And medieval European knights and Romans different.
Yeah. So those are your characters. Oh right, so loot. So there is loot in this game. That is, you know, kind of the main draw that's going to keep you playing, keep you coming back. You basically unlock new gear, new armor pieces, new weapon pieces. So you don't unlock sets. You unlock like maybe the helmet, or you'll get like some gauntlets, or the hilt or something of a weapon. And you get that. You get some loot scavenged after every match, no matter what mode you play. It's not every single time, but it's quite often that you get some, and you can buy loot crates if you want a shortcut to get several loot at once as well.
Matt takes this very seriously.
I do, yeah. Well, I think I'm about maxed out my character now in terms of how I want them to look. I think in terms of their badassery, I'm pretty satisfied. I mean, how do you think the Centurion looks, Thomas? You play
I think he looks badass.
You think badass?
But,
yeah.
You've put a lot of effort into all
I
that.
certainly have, yeah. Oh yes, of course. And we've got the emblems as well. Yes. So when you first put up the game, you're going to be asked which faction you want to join. Whether it's Knights, Samurai or Vikings. Now that doesn't affect the characters you could play. You could play any character you want regardless of your faction choice. Your faction allegiance only relates to the seasons, which is basically it's basically like a contest that's held to see which faction gets the most wins and gets the most territory through wins. And it's
Roadhog.
It's Roadhog, yeah, basically, yeah. So there's something there for Overwatch fans as well. Yeah, so you can choose any character you want, regardless of your faction choice. You can then make an emblem, as you can see there. I've chosen a very original emblem there, right in the top left corner of the screen.
Totally original, do not steal.
Yes. And you can actually adorn your character with those emblems as well, as you can see.
As you can see, Centurion is a proud member of the Fett clan.
The Fett clan, yes. As is my gladiator, coincidentally.
Yes, who wears Boba Fett's face on his arse.
On his arse. Yeah.
Boba Fett regrets it every time he has a curry.
Yeah, so I think that about covers it. Oh yeah, we've also got the Halloween season. We're not playing an Elder Scrolls Morrowind expansion. That Blood Moon, which is called a Blood Moon coincidentally, is part of the Halloween season in For Honor as well. So you get some spooky music, which we've naturally turned off.
We're sure you'd love to hear our dulcet tones rather than any spooky music.
Yes. Yeah, but there's a couple changes added with the Halloween season as well. You get like special loot. You can unlock outfits, like emotes and so on and so forth. All that rubbish. So yeah, I think that about sums up our thoughts pre Marching Fire update on For Honor. This is just showing you the progress on the seasons that I mentioned. Territory status, who controls what. Yellow is Knights and blue is Samurai win. Well, sod that. And red is Vikings. Yeah, so you've got all your modes here separated into categories. You've got Breach, that we're going to be playing today. You've got Battle, which encompasses the Control Point 1 Dominion. Tribute, which is like Capture the Flag, but good. And you've got big like a Team Deathmatch mode as well, which I would argue is probably more fun, just because of how much more original this game is compared to games that tend to have Team Deathmatch, you know, like shooters like Call of Duty and so on. And then you've got your Duel and Brawl modes, that's 1v1 and 2v2. But yeah, let's jump straight in. We're going to be doing Breach mode today.
Where are the Chinese?
That's a very good question. They don't appear to be on this map. That's a very good question.
That's a bit insulting.
Yes.
He said, stirring the pot.
Yes. Yes, that's very strange. I mean, the thing is, this is relating to the faction you picked back when the game launched, really. So most players have already picked out those three. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's kind of the maths hurdle they'd have to make in order to allow that faction to sort of be in the runnings with the progress that these other factions have made. 'Cause like I said, the seasons thing is cumulative. So I don't know if that's why. Maybe they can't be asked to make a new map. I don't know, but that's a good question. I didn't notice that. I did not notice that. Yeah, but with that, let's jump into Breach mode. So I've shown Thomas the tutorial video that you get when you boot up this update for Breach. But I'm going to do the first round just to give Tom a better idea and a bit of a reminder on mechanics, because it's been a little while since we played this.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's give it a go. There's 3 maps added with Breach. We're going to try to play each map once and see where we go from there.